In this video, I'm going to go through my process with creating a plan for someone I've worked with for multiple years. So, as someone gets fitter and they have goals to get faster, that plan has to fit their new goals. So, if you follow the same plan year after year, we just can't expect people to get fitter and faster because the plan isn't going to be challenging enough. So this is why it doesn't really make sense for someone to, restart a plan and just do the same thing over and over, because we can't do the same thing over and over and expect different results. So what we achieve with training is based off of the previous weeks, months, and years of training. Our body does not understand, starts and finishes with a training plan. It's just this constant process of adaptation. And so that's how we want to approach the plan when we're building off of a previous year of training. So let's go through the training of someone I worked with over multiple years, and she did give me permission to show you all her training. So this was for a full marathon that was in the fall. And as you can see, her long runs, she had two 20-mile runs. Her midweek speed sessions were around 7 miles, and the most difficult session included 3 miles at half marathon effort and some 10K intervals. And then she maxed out at 54 miles for her biggest week. And she ended up having over a 2-minute PR for this race. So let's go through the training of someone I worked with over multiple years, and she did give me permission to. This next block of training is her peak marathon weeks for the following June. So here you can see how I build training year after year, and we never repeat the same training. So now with this marathon, she was able to do 3 20-mile runs for her long runs. We were able to add another 20-miler, and she handled that really well. And with one of them, we were able to include 5 miles at marathon effort. Her midweek speed sessions, we were able to make them longer. So they were between 8 and 10 miles, and they included harder speed work. So we were doing more sustained work, more tempo effort. So now she had more miles that she was able to handle at a faster effort. And then her peak volume week, we maxed out at 66 miles. And with this marathon, she had over a 9-minute marathon PR. So let's talk about how we change training when someone is injured. When you have injured tissues, the tissues are not able to handle normal training just because their load capacity is lower. So they're weaker tissues, the tissue quality is lower, so it's just not able to handle normal training. So this is when runners get into trouble because they try to do normal training on tissues that have a lower load capacity. So it just leads to them becoming more injured or prolonging their injury. So when we have an injury, we want to reduce the volume, reduce the speed work, whatever matches the tissue tolerance of the injured tissues, and that's where we want to be. So we want to meet our tissues where they're at. Now, when we think about building from a period of injury, we can't ignore this period, right? So every month we're building off of the prior month. So we're not ignoring a period of pain and injury. So we just keep building and building and building to allow those injured tissues to become stronger and to be able to handle normal training again. So now when we think of this more long term, let's say someone has an injury in the spring and they're able to run pain-free by the summer. Their fall training might still be less intense than prior years because we're building off of a longer block of injured running. So we can't just magically ignore that, spring period of an injury because that's not how our body thinks. So the fall might still be less intense than prior years because we are building off of a period of injury. Now, let's say we move into the next year. We might be able to go back to how they were able to train previous years and match that same intensity. But that's because we're building off of a fall of healthy running, strong running, rather than, a period of someone being injured. So we always want to think of everything as a continuum, and it should never be ignored if someone has had a period of injury, because that's where we want to start. That's our starting point when we build, and we can't just ignore that period, even if someone is running pain-free.